Yan-Erik here. I'm an EXO coach from OpenExO. I've been playing with Alsace Digital as a business coach and innovation coach for some years now. And what I wanted to present to you is the sprint methodology of OpenExO, which is mostly used online. So I've designed a tool to this purpose, which you can use and find, on Atolia. And I will run through it to present, what is the methodology that you can use to advance, this hackathon principle. Let's go. Here, you do have the screen. So if you want to research, the origin of the methodology, you can look for OpenExO. It's a platform. You can join us. It's free. Myself, you can find, some references about Yan-ErikDecorde.com, if you want to know a little more the kind of thing I'm preparing. And the whole purpose of OpenExO is to diffuse the model of exponential organization and methodology to transform companies and transform the world. That's it. So the slides, I've shared it on the platform. It's accessible for everybody. I do invite you, when you look at it, to make your own copy, to be able to use it for yourself, because this is something meant to be used by a team collaboratively for you to be able to write, the information within. So first thing you have to do is to define the scope and the exploration of that you are going to research, that you want to build, what kind of action you want to do with your project. So what you want to accomplish, what's the playground, what are you trying to transform? Once you have, this field of operation, then you can start the research process. The OpenExO sprint methodology actually is 10 sprints of 5 days that you do in a row. And it's quite close to the methodology that we are going to do in 5 weeks. So the first one will be exploration, global challenges. Ours is, of course, COVID-19 and the second order consequences that our society will face. Then we have the ideation, problem solution pairs, share, which is go out of the building and try to meet people to propose, your ideas, to have some feedback. And it's a selection process from the feedback you get from the people, what is the best proposition you can make and what will be well appreciated by the people. And then it's the week 5, which we call a disruption week. The disruption week is a moment when you pitch your project in front of peers or stakeholders, experts of the field, and then we'll give feedback. It's kind of boxing of the project. Then as it's a 10-week sprint, then we go into the prototype part, to go for the MVP. Then we test the prototype. So in this 5-week hackathon, it's a possibility that you go very early stage in prototype and then to be able to test it with a mock-up MVP, with early adopters. And you do an iterative improve process, prototype and improve within the 5 weeks. And then, of course, at the end, you can have, your selection of the best practice that you've identified and then the launch to your stakeholders. So here, our organization is week 1, just meet with the participant, form the teams, and then it's only problem analysis and brainstorm for solutions. So I will show sometimes the differences that we can have between the hackathon and the methodology, but as you know, you can use your time as you want. You will see it's a nice stream, of innovation and brainstorming. So the first part is exploration. The biggest problems are the biggest opportunities. So we are facing a massive, massive problem with 3 billion people under lockdown, and this will change forever, the way we work, the way we socialize, and the way we organize. My first proposition would be to explore, global challenges, to know what's the problem like. You've got some special boards that you can fill in. You can, make copy, paste of the slide to have more than this. What is the society trend? What are the big risks that we are facing? What are the opportunities behind the risk? And then you can dig into exponential technologies. These are the technologies that you will leverage to be able to bring your proposition of solution to as many people as possible, to try to impact their life, to change their life for the better. So proposition, of course, is to go to different big websites, MIT Review, Singularity University, disruption hubs. These are big addresses that you can go. But of course, you've got like the hubs like TechCrunch Wired, CB Insights, and many, many others. The exponential technologies are, all the convergence of computer, electronic, information technology converging together in different fields with artificial intelligence, robotics, 3D printing, virtual reality, and others. So these are the kind of technologies that within a hackathon you can consider using, because they will give you the biggest leverage, for your project. So you can, dig into the technologies that you believe will impact the field that you are researching or the field that you are trying to transform. There's one very important thing, which is the timing here, because an exponential technology has a doubling of capacity at constant price, usually every 9 months, 12 months, 18 months. Biotech is 9 months at the moment. And so you have to try to intercept the moment in the future when this technology will be ripe for use, okay? And it can be something like between a year or 2 years if you have a project that you really want to deploy. Then you have to learn from the new business models. What are the disruptive startups doing at the moment, to be able to harness those exponential technologies? And there's some few lists here: TechCrunch, AngelList, Entrepreneurs, and other websites. Of course, talk with the people, go to the news, try to find some new business ideas, and then list them. What are they doing? How does it relate to your own industry and the field you are exploring? So once you've done this, then you go into the ideation process. And the ideation process is mostly identifying what is the purpose of your project. Here, at OpenExO, we call it the massive transformative purpose. It is really something that is inspiring and aims at transforming the world. So try to find something which is scalable, impactful, positive, and that will positively impact the world. And within this massive transformative purpose, you do identify a specific problem. And it is very important to be clear about your problem and to focus on the problem, because it's very easy, to have a fancy solution that you want to deploy because, you will feel like you're the hero. But the most important thing is the problem. You have to fall in love with the problem, not the solution. And once you have a clearly defined problem, then you can design a scalable solution using, of course, exponential technologies, global problems, and things like this. And be really mindful of the crucial questions underlying your assumptions of solutions, okay? And from this, you move on with defining your multiple massive transformative purpose. So in your field of exploration, they can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inspiring, proposition of positive transformation of the world. I give you a methodology. You can just follow simple checklist: why, how, what, classic, proposition, the 5 why methodology. So you can follow through those ones. And then you dive into the problem solution pair. So for each massive transformative purpose, for each inspiring goal, you will have a specific problem and a specific solution. And then from all those propositions, you list them, in big lines. Here I have only the place for 4, but you can use an Excel, spreadsheet to be smaller than that. And so you can go into your ideation proposition with a massive transformative purpose, a real purpose to save the world, specific name, what is the exact problem you want to address, and what is the solution you propose. And once you've done this, you have to share it with the world. So this one, I like it. It comes from Clausewitz, but it's from Steve Blank. So no business plan survives first contact with customers. So you have to go out of your comfort zone, and you do have to find what are the key hypotheses, what are the crucial questions behind your solutions, what are the crucial questions behind the problems, or what you imagine is the problem. And you have to make a questionnaire, you have to devise a very basic prototype to go and ask the people who suffer of the problem, what do they think, not of your solution, but what do they think of the problem in the terms that you are researching it. So it's the first time that you get in contact, with those people, early adopters, pioneers, your potential customers. And by doing this, you have to identify first, what are your evaluation criteria for success? And through this, you can list your hypothesis, You can list the kind of questions or the kind of experiments you can do to validate or invalidate your hypothesis, a criteria, a result, and then key learning. And remember that at this stage and all subsequent stages, the question is not to succeed, to be right, or to have people applauding, your proposition. Because if you fail and if you have response of misunderstanding or emotional response from the people that you survey, actually you get better learnings. So the harder you fail, the bigger the learning. So this kind of experiments around the problem solution fit allows you to make accelerated learning. It's really the build, measure, learn loop, of the lean startup. So once you've done this, you've got results, key learnings from different results attached to different proposition, and then you do have to select. So in OpenExO process, we select 4 initiatives that we will dig into, but of course at this stage, you select 1 initiative and maybe 1 or 2 variations around this. And then you go, with those most promising idea into the process of, selecting it, how can I scale it, how can I use exponential technologies to give, strength, massive leverage, and massive scalability to my process. And this is where the exponential organization Canva comes into play. Here, in the slides, you can just activate and write about it. I will not go into the detail, but maybe we will find the time together, during the hackathon to go and explain, some of those aspects. You will recognize here the staff on demand. It's how can I have an expert working for me? The use of community and crowd, of course, the use of deep learning and algorithm. The use of leverage assets is how is Uber using the car of somebody else? How is Airbnb using the apartment of somebody else? And so this is how you are going to use outside abundance of information and abundance of dormant capital, and how you are going to structure yourself from within. Of course, the interface is the base. This is why we need a UX designer, dashboards. How will I manage the massive information? Permanent experimentation principle, autonomy, social technology, this kind of thing. And then you can integrate your MTP, choose, the one you are going to use, design your business model, this kind of thing you should be maybe knowing. If you don't, there are many coaches here around, who can help you out with this, how to identify your key partners, what is the core of your value proposition. This is the general business model Canva. And then we will review a little later. So the elevator pitch in our situation is for week 5, but it can be possible that at week 3, you will be able, to present a pitch to some stakeholders. So be ready with a pitch. My proposition would be to go into a pitch Canva and try to be very clear about your purpose, with your project, and what is your problem solution fit. And then, of course, how you're going to articulate it. And then disruption, this is what we do week 5, but you can go into prototyping too, maybe earlier. One tool, very important, sorry, it's still in French, it's going to be translated in English. I work from English material translated in French, I have to put it back in English, which is this one. I'm sure that most of you know about it. It's the value proposition Canva. Please look into it. It's really how I can identify simply, who's my target, who's my client segments, what is the mission, what are they doing on a daily basis, what is the gain they are looking for, and what is the pain, in the daily life, because this is the biggest, the most important situation. Under the actual crisis, 3 billion people under lockdown, this is a massive pain. It creates massive frustration. And so if you can alleviate this pain, this frustration, you will get the attention of the clients. And this is what we are looking for in this process. By iterative process, identify a problem, propose a solution, and then be sure to get in touch with your same segment of early adopter to test, is it a solution that you like? Do you really have this problem? Is it something that is important for you? And then you can go on with some more specific cards and things like this. So usually we have some Q&A at this stage. Of course, the subject is big. My purpose was to show you the tool. It's in one of the folder in the general meeting room of Atolia. It's called Canvas and Tools for Innovation. There's about, I think, 8 or 10 canvas inside of it, plus, the slides that you can use. If you do have any question, please feel free to ask, and I'll keep on writing answers after this if you want.